The moment was surreal. As I typed away, creating tension and drama in my fictional murder scene, the familiar sound of breaking news echoing from the television drew my attention. The reporter's voice pierced my concentration, delivering chilling details about a crime that mirrored the very narrative I was weaving. The uncanny resemblance sent shivers down my spine, blurring the line between fiction and reality. My imagination, which had flourished in the confines of my mind, suddenly felt like an unwelcome intruder in the real world. I paused, grappling with the unsettling coincidence that my creative musings had seemingly intersected with a haunting reality. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence, a strange alignment between fiction and reality, but then it happened again. It was as if the universe was playing a game with me, throwing echoes of my life into the stories I read. Each fictional plot twist seemed to mirror my own experiences, bringing an unsettling sense of familiarity. The more I noticed this pattern, the more I began to question whether it was mere chance. Was there a deeper connection between the narratives I consumed and the life I lived? This revelation opened a door to an entirely new perspective, urging me to contemplate how our realities can often reflect the layers of fiction we embrace. What if our choices, emotions, and challenges were not just unique to us but shared in myriad tales, intertwining our lives with those imagined worlds? The chilling details of the crime began to echo through the streets as residents tuned into their local news. The victim, a young woman draped in mystery, had been found lifeless, her body marked by the elegant yet sinister weapon of choice, a silk scarf. The initial police report described her as a diligent student, known for her warm smile. Now, with every news update, the chilling narrative grew darker. Adds to the haunting ambience of the town, the alleyway, once a passage for laughter and life, had transformed into a scene of horror. Local reporters painted a vivid picture of the aftermath, delving into the investigation and the chilling similarities that mirrored the details of the victim's tragic fate. The community watched in disbelief, grappling with fear and speculation as they replayed the haunting visuals in their minds. My hands trembled as I reread my own words, realizing the chilling reality that I had described the crime scene in perfect detail before it had even happened. The ink on the page felt like an ominous premonition, my imagination playing a cruel trick. Vivid images flooded my mind, each stroke of the pen painting a scene that was yet to unfold. Anxiety coursed through me as I grappled with the implications of my foresight, questioning my sanity and the boundaries of creativity. Had I unknowingly become a prophet of doom, or was it merely an uncanny coincidence? The weight of the words hung heavy, morphing into a harbinger of events beyond my control. As I sat in front of my laptop, fingers hovering over the keys, a chill ran down my spine. I had always found solace in writing, creating worlds and characters that felt undeniably real. But when my latest story, filled with strange coincidences and unsettling events, began to unfold in real life, I couldn't help but feel a creeping sense of dread. The line between fiction and reality blurred, and my mind raced with questions. Was I merely a storyteller, or was there something more at play? Night after night, I penned new chapters, only to wake up to find them manifesting outside my window. It wasn't just an eerie accident anymore, it was a harbinger of something darker, something I had unwittingly invited into my life. How much power did my words hold? As the unsettling occurrences continued, I realized I had to confront not only my fears but also the chilling truth behind my creativity. As I sat in front of my laptop, the eerie sensation washed over me that my every keystroke was not merely transferring thoughts to a digital format, but rather weaving a narrative that was manifesting in reality. Each line I crafted seemed to echo through the universe, influencing events around me, sometimes for the better, but often spiraling into chaos. The words became a double-edged sword. My hopes and dreams materialized with a flicker of the cursor, yet with each unintended phrase, misfortunes unfurled like dark clouds. Was I a mere storyteller, or had I become a puppet master, unwittingly controlling the fate of those around me with the power of the written word? The line between fiction and reality blurred, leaving me questioning not only my creative prowess but also the unpredictable forces of fate that seemed all too aware of my words. I found myself caught in a web of silence, each word I tried to pen down overshadowed by a gnawing fear. The secret clung to me like a shadow, whispering doubts that seeped into my creativity. What would they think if they knew? Would they label me insane, just another lost soul chasing illusions? Each time I opened my notebook, my thoughts battled the anxiety that had taken hold, suffocating my inspiration. The pressure built inside, a storm waiting to break free, yet I trembled at the thought of revealing the truth. Eventually, the fear of not sharing my secret became greater than the fear of judgment, forcing me to confront both my creativity and my silence. Each night, as the clock ticked away, the struggle within me intensified. The comfort of surrender beckoned, promising a reprieve from the relentless pursuit of creativity. Yet, a voice deep within urged me to push on, reminding me of the stories waiting to be told and the characters yearning for life beyond the pages. I realized that the choice wasn't merely about finishing a draft, It was about honoring the commitment I had made to myself and the journey of bringing my visions into reality. To abandon it now would mean silencing that voice forever, and that was a fate I could not accept. With renewed determination, I opened my laptop and allowed the words to flow, knowing that every sentence was a step closer to fulfilling my purpose as a writer. In the latest chapter of my book, the tension escalated as the protagonist walked the dimly lit streets, feeling the prickle of eyes on his back. He quickened his pace, glancing nervously over his shoulder, but the shadows remained shrouded and silent. With each step, the sense of dread grew stronger, culminating in a heart-pounding moment when he turned a corner and disappeared from view, leaving his unseen follower in suspense. This chapter captures the essence of fear and isolation, emphasizing how someone can feel utterly alone even when being watched. The sun broke through the curtains, casting a drab light over the room, but my mind was still racing. The previous night, I had inked down a fictional tale about a character who vanished while walking down a familiar path. As I poured my first cup of coffee, the newspaper lay casually on the kitchen counter, its bold headline instantly catching my eye. Local man missing, last seen on Elm Street. The street I had woven into my plot became a chilling reality. My heart raced. In that moment, fiction and reality seemed to blur, igniting both fear and inspiration within me. What if my story could uncover the truth? What if there was a connection? These thoughts swirled through my mind as I felt an urge to piece together not just my narrative, but perhaps the mysteries outside my window. As the weight of the revelation settled over me, my surroundings faded into a blur. I had crossed an invisible line. My role had shifted from passive observer to an integral player in a much larger narrative. The implications of my awareness hit like a tidal wave. Was I meant to foresee the outcomes, to guide those around me with newfound wisdom, or had I unwittingly become part of a scheme far beyond my control? The air thickened with uncertainty as I stood on the precipice of fate, torn between autonomy and foreordained destiny. With each page unfurled before me, I felt an overwhelming sense of urgency. The words I had painstakingly written now seemed to hold secrets I couldn't grasp. I combed through my manuscript, line by line, scanning for clues that might reveal the underlying issues plaguing my thoughts. Was it a character's flaw, a plot twist that had gone awry, or perhaps an emotional disconnect that I was too close to see? As I pieced together the scattered fragments of my story, the weight of my desperation lingered, urging me to uncover the truth buried within my own creation. As I turned to each page, a chilling revelation struck me. Every crime I had meticulously documented unfolded in real life in a mirror-like sequence. It wasn't just the events that matched, even the nuances, like locations and times, echoed what I had penned down, weaving an unsettling connection between my words and reality. What had started as a mere fictional exploration was morphing into something far more sinister, leaving me to ponder the implications of my writing and the mysteries of fate intertwining with narrative. In a world where hope often seems elusive, I decided to test a theory. What if our thoughts and intentions could manifest reality? To explore this idea, I penned a simple, harmless scene about a lost dog who, after a long day of searching, is finally found by a kind stranger. This narrative was filled with warmth and compassion, designed to evoke feelings of joy and relief. After writing this scene, I decided to wait and observe, curious to see if my positive intention would lead to a real-life occurrence. As days passed, I remained vigilant, wondering if perhaps the universe would align in such a way that my fictional moment might inspire a genuine event. Would someone truly experience the joy of reuniting with a lost pet, reflecting the kindness I had imagined? 2 days after our last conversation, my neighbor excitedly shared that she had rescued a stray dog. As she spoke of the dog's sad eyes and the moment she decided to take it in, I felt a surge of emotion. My stomach twisted into knots, not only out of concern for the dog's fate, but also because I had been silently hoping to adopt a dog myself. Now, my heart raced with the fear of missing out on this opportunity and the potential joy of having a furry companion. The thought of all the love and friendship a dog could bring made my heart ache, adding to the turmoil in my stomach as I considered what this meant for me. This statement reflects a heavy realization about the duality of creativity. It implies that if one has the power to conjure joyful and innocent events through imagination or action, they must also bear the burden of responsibility for any negative outcomes that arise from that creative force. The balance of creation brings with it the responsibility of destruction, leading to a complex understanding of one's impact in the world. I sat at my desk, staring at the flickering screen. It was impossible to fathom that someone could be using my unpublished manuscript as a blueprint for their own twisted narrative. I had poured my heart and soul into those pages, crafting a world that was uniquely mine. Yet, the more I thought about it, the more I felt an unsettling chill, the kind that creeps down your spine when you sense you're being watched. I had not shared my manuscript with a single soul. How could someone have access to my thoughts and ideas? My mind raced with possibilities. Was there an uncanny coincidence, or was I being hunted by a shadowy figure who had somehow breached my private creation? The truth was elusive, and the paranoia began to consume me, making every word I had written feel like a potential weapon in someone else's hands. The only place my words existed was on my computer and inside my mind, which meant the connection went deeper than I understood. This notion underscores the profound intimacy between a writer and their craft. In the quiet solitude of typing, thoughts transcend mere keystrokes. They morph into a realm where emotions intertwine with ideas. The digital canvas becomes a sanctuary where dreams, fears, and revelations coalesce, forming a narrative that resonates with the author far before it touches an audience. It is here, in this solitary space, that the essence of communication begins, showcasing a bond that is invisible yet vibrant, ethereal yet solid, a connection to the self that often escapes articulation in the physical world. Fear settled into my bones as I realized that my next chapter described a murder that hadn't happened yet. The pen trembled in my hand, the ink splattering onto the page like the blood that would soon flow in this imagined scene. I couldn't shake the sensation that I was peering into a dark future, a chilling anticipation weighing heavy on my chest. Each word I wrote felt like a premonition, summoning events untold, and I found myself questioning the source of my inspiration. Was it merely fictional, or had I tapped into something ominous? I stared into the abyss of my own creativity, grappling with the shadows lurking in my mind, and I was consumed by the dread that perhaps this was not just a story, but a haunting glimpse of fate. The dilemma of a writer contemplating the act of pausing their creative process leads to a profound realization about the nature of stories. This moment reflects the intricate relationship between the author and their narrative, suggesting that stories possess a life of their own. Even in silence, the characters linger, their journeys undefined by the writer's pen. The writer wonders whether stepping back might allow the narrative to evolve independently, raising questions about authorship, creativity, and the power of storytelling. What might be unveiled in this untamed realm of imagination where the story carries on without its creator's conscious direction? In this alternative scene, the tension builds as detectives corner the killer in an abandoned warehouse. With glimmers of flashlights illuminating the dark corners, the audience feels the palpable fear and resolve. As the detectives confront the suspect, the air thickens with suspense. In a dramatic dialogue exchange, the killer's facade crumbles, revealing vulnerability and remorse. Moments later, justice is served as the handcuffs click into place, a symbol of accountability. The scene closes with a united front of detectives, affirming their commitment to protecting the innocent and restoring peace. For hours, I meticulously crafted a new ending, envisioning a scenario where the detectives pieced together crucial clues that had long eluded them. I imagined the moment when the police finally uncovered the vital evidence, a hidden fingerprint or a surveillance tape that led them straight to the murderer. It was a thrilling twist, one that brought resolution to the investigation, providing closure for the victims' families and justice for the fallen. My fingers danced across the keyboard, driven by the hope that this new conclusion would resonate with readers, confirming that good could ultimately triumph over evil. As I sat on the edge of my bed, still groggy from sleep, the urgency of the news startled me awake. The screen flashed with ominous graphics and a bold headline that seemed to scream for attention. New evidence leads police to suspect in recent murders. My heart raced as I recalled the haunting events of the past weeks, the chilling news reports, the uneasy glances exchanged with neighbors, and the sense of dread that had settled over our quiet town. This new development felt like a dark twist in a story I couldn't escape from. I grabbed the remote, clinging to it as if it could shield me from the truth of what was unfolding. The reporter's voice was steady yet urgent, detailing how investigators had uncovered critical clues that pointed to a potential suspect. My mind raced with questions. Who was this person? What did this mean for our safety? The gravity of the situation pressed down on me, and I knew nothing would feel the same anymore. The power of language is often underestimated, but in this moment, it was undeniable. With careful thought and intention, my words had not just communicated ideas but had transformed the very fabric of reality around me. Where once there was discord and uncertainty, harmony and understanding began to flourish. It was a reminder that our voices hold the incredible ability to inspire change and create a better world, proving that the right words can indeed pave the way for a brighter future. I had harnessed that potential, witnessing firsthand the positive impact of my speech, revealing a profound connection between human expression and the reality we experience. Each word I put on paper was not just a mere expression of thought, it was a brushstroke on the canvas of reality. I envisioned a future where ideas germinated into actions, where the narratives I crafted would inspire change and innovation. My words were a catalyst, igniting the potential within others to take bold steps forward. As I wrote, I felt the weight of my responsibility to not only depict what could be but to ignite the passion necessary to bring those visions to life. In this new realm of possibilities, I was both an observer and an architect of destiny, guiding the readers through the corridors of imagination and towards the dawn of new realities. Each page became a stepping stone, each chapter a new horizon in the world we were collectively shaping. The realization of possessing the ability to write justice into existence was both awe-inspiring and daunting. It posed the tantalizing question of what other realities I could shape. Would I be capable of rewriting chaos into peace, crafting love from loneliness, or even envisioning a world free from fear? The sheer potential of such power stirred a blend of excitement and dread within me. The weight of responsibility that accompanied it was overwhelming. Every word would carry the weight of consequence, leading to a profound understanding of how fragile our very existence can be. I stood at the precipice of creation, caught in the exhilarating thrill of possibility while grappling with the fear of unintended consequences. I spent the entire day staring at my laptop, my mind racing with the possibilities of what this meant. Each pulse of thought felt like a small explosion, each idea branching out into countless more. What could this information lead to? Opportunities? Challenges? As I clicked through documents and articles, the weight of potential hung in the air, a heavy and exhilarating mix of anxiety and excitement. The clock ticked steadily, but time seemed irrelevant as I became lost in my own thoughts, weaving a tapestry of dreams and concerns about what lay ahead. The concept of rewriting history often evokes a sense of longing for control over our lives and choices. Many ponder whether it's possible to change our past actions or to influence events that haven't yet occurred. While we cannot alter what has already happened, our choices and understanding can shape our future. This includes learning from mistakes and using that wisdom to navigate forthcoming circumstances more wisely. Understanding the distinction between the immutable past and the dynamic future is vital, as it empowers us to focus on the present and the potential it holds for creating a better tomorrow. The weight of unfinished business loomed over me like a storm cloud. I knew that testing that theory could lead to unforeseen consequences, and I wasn't prepared to dive into unknown waters just yet. My mind was a swirling vortex of ideas, but there was one final chapter to conclude my story. The kind of satisfaction that would come from finally putting my thoughts to rest became the beacon guiding my focus. In the silence of my workspace, every keystroke felt like a step closer to liberation, but the thrilling urge to explore uncharted territories lay in wait. I would push through my final task, illuminating the depths of my imagination in that last chapter before seeking out what lay beyond. As my fingers hovered over the keyboard, I felt the gravity of my thoughts coalescing into the written word. Each keystroke echoed with significance, as if the very act of writing could alter destinies. I was acutely aware that these words would be read, interpreted, and perhaps even inspire action. In this moment, the screen became a canvas, and I a reluctant artist, pouring my heart and mind into a medium that could bridge distances and evoke emotions. The stakes felt high, and I embraced the challenge, choosing my phrases with the precision of a sculptor chiseling away at stone. In the final chapter of this gripping narrative, the arrest of the elusive killer brought a sense of closure to the heartbroken families of the victims. After months of fear and mourning, the community could finally take a collective breath of relief. Conversations echoed with gratitude for law enforcement's tireless efforts, and the city streets, once filled with tension, began to fill with hope. The haunting shadows cast by the tragedy slowly lifted, symbolizing a fresh start and a renewed sense of safety. The morning light crept through my window, illuminating the chaos of the past few days. As I poured my coffee, my mind was still racing with thoughts of the investigation. The news alert popped up on my phone, creating a rush of adrenaline in my veins. The suspect had been captured. It was a moment of relief, yet it felt surreal, as I remembered meticulously crafting the narrative of the case just hours before. The sense of accomplishment was overwhelming. I had articulated the events leading to this arrest with such precision that reality had mirrored my words. I couldn't help but wonder if my insights had played a role in steering the authorities to the truth. As I stood there, a gentle breeze brushed against my cheek, amplifying the emotions surging within me. The gift I had been given was not just a blessing but a profound responsibility that felt heavy on my shoulders. With every ounce of my being, I understood that this was not a mere talent, it was an obligation to use it wisely. Tears welled in my eyes as I grappled with the realization that the very power I cherished could bring about unimaginable consequences if misused. The burden of my abilities weighed heavily on my heart, but I also felt the flicker of courage ignite within me, a determination to wield this gift for the greater good, despite the fears that gnawed at my conscience. As I closed my laptop, a wave of realization washed over me. The characters I'd created, the plots I'd spun, and the vivid worlds I'd crafted had intertwined with my own reality in ways I had never anticipated. The lines that once defined the boundary between fiction and truth had blurred, rendering my writing an echo of the experiences I lived daily. It felt as though each word I had penned was now infused with the texture of real emotions and the weight of genuine experiences. Would my stories now reflect a deeper understanding of life, or would they merely mirror the complexities of my own existence? I knew one thing for certain: I would never approach writing in the same way again. It was a new beginning, a transformation of my narrative voice established in authenticity and vulnerability.